Welcome into the Michael Wall Show. I got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about something that I think is a crucial conversation we got to have. It's called the simple things, right? And you're like, maybe at the onset, you're like, that sounds really good because my life has been complicated. So we're going to unpack that today, give you some tips and guidance to help you simplify your life today on the Michael Wall Show. You know, in life, things can be super busy. I don't know about you, but I'm in a place where we got 4 kids. I've got multiple companies. We got stuff going on, and obviously married for almost 20 years now. November of 2021 will be 20 years for me married. And if you're married out there, you know that every part of life in marriage is perfect all the time. Kidding, of course. It's not. It's challenging. Anytime you deal with people, you run into challenges. And so I just thought, this is something that is important for us to talk about on this show, and it is the simple things. And part of the conversation with the simple things really comes down to, why are you chasing what you're chasing after? And are you chasing after the wrong stuff? It can be challenging in life to know where or how to shut down and shut off. One of the things that I just experienced, I was telling our crew here as we're recording the show that, just last night I was coming in to do this show, whatever, I just couldn't sleep well. Just a lot of stuff on the plate, a lot of things on the mind. And some of it is, you want to connect with people in life and you want them to follow through with the things that they say they're going to do. And it can be challenging along the way, but you have to evaluate where you are in life, and are you doing what maybe God has called you to do, or are you doing what you want to do and asking God to bless it, right? And then on the journey as well, you have to ask, I think, yourself the question of, are you content with the simple things? Well, I had a little off conversation with a gentleman that's doing some work for us at our place, and we were talking about the idea of actually just kind of literally unplugging and saying, okay, you know what, we're just going to check out and go get a cabin in the woods and live low, live conservative, and just enjoy the outdoors. And I think if I really think about that in my life, I think, how long would that last, right? How long would I be comfortable with that? And I think it'd probably last for a season, but I think at some point in time, I probably would get bored. But it does beg the question of, how comfortable are we with the simple things in life, and why do we do what we do, and what do we chase after? So I want to frame this around a couple verses in Philippians. This is when Paul was writing a letter to the church at Philippi, and in Philippians chapter 4, starting in verse 11, it says this: "Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content in whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing, or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or an empty one, with plenty or little." And then I love verse 13, which says, "For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength." And I love these verses because it talks about the idea that here's Paul doing his thing in life, and he is learning along the way to be content with what he has. And in life, it's interesting, especially in the Western culture in America, and maybe even other parts of the globe, right? We're in a place where there's different seasons, right? There's seasons where maybe if you have a business, or maybe you're working for a company where you have different levels of success, right? And maybe you're buying this or doing this or traveling here or going there. And then we have seasons that hit us, we'll call it almost like the COVID season, right? Nobody prepared for that or planned for that, but it occurred. And it may not be COVID, it may be something else. Maybe you have some major catastrophe that hits your life, a major storm that hits your life. Maybe it's cancer or some other type of disease, or God forbid, a divorce or something like that, and you're in a place where you're going through a massive storm. Well, that changes the output of your life. That changes sometimes the course of your life. That changes the ability of what you can do in your life. You might have goals and dreams and ideas and say, man, this is really what I want to do when I grow up, or this is really what I want to do in 5 years, or this is what I'd like to achieve, or I'd like to save this much money, I'd like to live in this kind of house, I'd like to do all of these things. And we can all get caught up in that kind of stuff. Yeah, but did you see so-and-so, the car they're driving? I need to drive a car like that. If I drive a certain car like that, then it'll cause people to know, not just think, but they'll know I'm successful, and that's important to me. Well, that kind of gets into a little bit. There was another episode that I did a little while back, and I asked the question, and we kind of unpacked it. The episode was called, Who Are You Without Your Stuff? If you haven't watched that, I want to challenge you to go back and check that out. Because you have to ask that question on the journey of evaluating the simple things. And I think as Paul was saying there, he's learned how to be content with much, and he's learned how to be content with little. Now, the reality of it is, I think if we're all honest with ourselves, unless we really get ourselves around the right group of friends and really connect with the right people, that we're in a place where oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to be comfortable or content with the simple things in life unless something happens in our life outside of our control. Now, that's not always the case, right? Some of us have taken the discipline and made the time to create disciplines to press pause and step back. But as a general rule of thumb, people are designed and wired to go for the next and next and more and more, and how can I get bigger, and how can I have more, and how can I get more stuff, and how can I take more trips, and how can I, all this stuff, right? All you have to do is take a look at Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever and see what people are posting on a regular basis. It's about what they're doing in life. And there's nothing wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with doing nice things. But I guess my question to you is, are you comfortable, or what disciplines are you willing to put in your life, or maybe have you put in your life to cause you to be comfortable with the simple things? Now, I wanted to talk about this on the show today because I really believe that this is integral to having a life that is full of peace. When you're always chasing things that are fleeting, when you're always chasing the next thing, and in life it's always about, you've heard it said before, kind of keeping up with the Joneses, right? Well, when you get to a certain level, there's always going to be somebody at a next level. There's always somebody at the next level. There's always somebody at the next level. And so the question that you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to fight for in your life? I would challenge you to think about fighting for the simple things. Because I think that we are doing our children a disservice if we just teach them that it's okay to go after more and more and more. And that's what life is all about. Because at some point in time, someone is going to fail them. There's going to be somebody that's smarter. They may have some type of health situation that comes along their way. Maybe they end up in an accident. Maybe something occurs that they can't control. And if their idea of success and self-worth and who they are and who they should be is all wrapped around having more and excess, they're going to get very depressed, and they're going to have serious challenges really living out who God's called them to be in life, because they're stuck on material stuff. So that's why I love those verses in Philippians chapter 4 where Paul is talking about the idea of, listen, I've had much and I've had little. I'm paraphrasing now, but I've learned to be content in every situation. And really, that's a beautiful thing. So it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of stuff or if you have a little bit of stuff. Really, the simple things and this conversation is really about the idea of being content with whatever is in your hand. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't achieve or strive for more. That's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you don't work harder and try add more value to the world and do all of these things. But what I am saying is if you're doing it at the place or at the pace that it causes you to be frustrated, wore out, and really just kind of a not a nice person, then maybe what you're chasing isn't as worth it as you think it really is. So my challenge in this show as we wrap it up is to really focus on the simple things. And it's really the idea of being content with wherever you are, whether you have little or whether you have much. A great practice to kind of help you on that journey is to start to think about what you currently have. Because so often we can be in a place, especially with social media, especially with internet, especially with TV, especially with all of the other things that come at us each and every day in our lives, advertisements everywhere, right? We can be in a place where you're like, oh, did you see that new car? Oh, that new whatever. Oh, that new this, right? You can even get it from your kids. But I think the reality of it is what you got to do is you got to press pause and you got to say, okay, let me think about what I currently have. What do I have right now that I'm thankful for? Well, maybe I have a place to sleep, a home that protects me from the rain when it comes. Maybe I have a bed to sleep in, right? Maybe it's not a $20,000 mattress, but maybe it's a bed where when you lay down, you can sleep and get a good night's rest. Do you have a pillow? That's another thing to be thankful for. You have covers. You have clothes. Many of us have more than one outfit, right? In fact, sometimes we go to put clothes on in the morning and we're like, or the evening, I don't know what to wear. Why? Well, because we have too many options. That's something else to be thankful for. You probably have more clothes in your closet than most people have in their wardrobe in the world. Do you have a vehicle? Something to be thankful for. Do you have friends, people that you can reach out to and just chat with? Something to be thankful for. Do you have food in your stomach? Have you gone a day or 2 or 3 days without food? Something to be thankful for. These are the basics. Now, you can go all the way up to wherever you are in the stage or scale of wealth, but I think this is an important start to say, what are we really thankful for instead of what do I want? What do I want to chase after? And we see that threaded through the Bible when Jesus talks to us about the idea of coming to him with thanksgiving first instead of requests, right? Hey, genie in the bottle, God, I need this. I also need this, and I need this in this color by this date, preferably with this type of leather on the inside, and then I'll put my Jesus sticker on the back, and everybody will know that I'm giving honor and praise to you. Well, that's ridiculous, okay? If that's your perspective of who God is, you don't have a very good perspective of who God is. So I want to challenge you to think about and step back in your life and really evaluate the simple things, being thankful. You know, that old song, Count Your Blessings. Name them one by one. Count your blessings. See what God has done. There's so many things that we can be ungrateful for if we put our mind there. But if we choose to not put our mind there and focus on what we can be thankful for, then what will happen is we'll get comfortable with the simple things. We'll be content, let me say, with the simple things. And by doing that, that will give you greater clarity to step into the next thing that God has for you. Listen, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this show added value to you. Share this with somebody that needs to hear it. I really appreciate that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And as always, you can follow us on Instagram. A lot of the stuff on the pages is @RealMichaelWall. So just head over to @RealMichaelWall on Instagram if you want to check out my family or day-to-day life, just stuff that we're doing. Love to kind of connect and communicate with you there as well. But have a blessed day, and as always, it is our goal to help you live on purpose so you can live with purpose. Have a good one. Talk to you next show.